The graphics hardware that's in mobile and embedded, it's getting better and better and better, but it's not there. And cloud is there.
Let's say you play the game this morning in New York and you take an airplane to LA, but you want to enjoy the same play experience. You don't want to, I feel more laggy because I'm in LA right now.
For the past 25 to 30 years, gaming has been the R&D of the future, from every aspect.
Welcome to Interconnected. Today we are going to be diving into the world of gaming. From VR in our living rooms to cloud stream blockbusters on our phones, gaming has really become this $200 billion global phenomenon, bigger than movies and music combined. But it's more than just entertainment. Gaming is now the testbed for the future of the internet, driving advances in networking, computing, and digital identity that will shape how we work, learn, and even connect.
So to help us unpack how gaming became one of the world's most powerful innovation engines, we're joined by Royal O'Brien and Wesley Coe. Royal is the CEO of Expansia and former CTO of Hayden, as well as Amazon's former game tech chief evangelist. Wesley is the CEO and founder of Ubitus, a cloud gaming pioneer bringing console-quality games to virtually any device through streaming partnerships with companies like Nintendo and major telecoms.
Royal, Wesley, I'm so glad to have you join us. I just want to dive in and we can start because one of the things I'm actually interested in talking about is how has the gaming industry evolved? Royal, if you don't mind starting.
Sure. I mean, the gaming industry has been very interesting, but if you look at what's happening for the past 25 to 30 years, gaming has been the R&D of the future of every technology. If you want to find out where the technology is, look at the scrappy developers that have used this hardware and have driven more industries from every aspect. And that's something that's not going to change because the reality is it's ingrained as part of the culture. The bottom line is that it is the preferred medium of interactivity across the board.
Yeah, I can speak firsthand. Before this call, I said to my wife it was research, but I was actually just playing on the Xbox and kind of getting ready for this call. And it's kind of interactive as well. It's like you watch a Twitch stream for an hour and then you'll get an in-game content drop. So it's kind of keeping that retention on Twitch and people like myself to watch it as well.
Yeah. So since we talk about, like YouTube and Twitch, what we're doing, the cloud gaming is kind of an enhanced or interactive version. So what we're doing is host all the game rendering, all the 3D engine in the cloud with cloud GPU and streaming the render output of those graphics as a video to end user device. Could be a phone, could be a browser, could be Switch.
So talking about GPUs for a second, do you mind giving our audience a take on the innovations that are coming up with real-time rendering?
So GPU in short, by the way, is called graphics processing unit.
Yeah, it's a specialized piece of hardware that is very, very good at doing a lot of computations on 3D and math.
Yeah, so when human eyes want to see an animation you think is smooth, you need a continuous frame generate at least 24, 25 frames per second. But when you really play high quality game or when you have like 4K TV, 80-inch TV at home, because the display area become bigger, then you have to upscale your frame rate.
Yeah, and it comes down to the game you're playing. If I'm playing a first-person shooter, there's a Twitch type game, I want 120 frames a second at a minimum and probably 144. But if I'm playing, World of Warcraft or Diablo, 60 is perfectly fine. When you raise that frame rate and you're expecting it to be there, you need a powerful enough card that is able to actually render and produce those frames.
Right.
And it's not just the GPU, it's the system itself. But the GPU is the major element of what's going to determine your capability.
Wesley, I wanted to get your opinion on this. I was wondering if you could take us through the landscape a little bit more broadly. How is the industry divided between consoles and cloud today?
To be honest, I think cloud is still relatively smaller than traditional, gadget like a PC, like Steam, like a console or mobile games. But it has its value and supplementary role. For example, people enjoy the portability, the smart design of Switch, right? So we work with Nintendo and bring a lot of really AAA games that are so hard to run native on Switch. and we put that in the cloud and convert as a video stream to the Switch users. People who want to play game instantly, anytime, anywhere, but carry over and enjoy the game, that's how cloud can help.
Cloud has something very interesting, though, that a lot of people don't really think about. And that's the thing is, if you don't have the hardware on your phone or on a device to be able to show the fidelity of it, cloud can accomplish that for you. And it's one of the strong suits. Now, the graphics hardware that's in mobile and embedded, it's getting better and better and better, but it's not there.
Yeah.
And cloud is there and is capable of doing it. So it's not like a competition. It's using the right tool to enjoy the right experience.
Yeah, agreed. But again, the fundamental design of phone is make a phone call or send a message, not just play video game all the time. These days, the console game make to be honest, really bigger and bigger. Like for example, Red Hat Redemption from Rockstar is over 100 gigabytes, the full game. So even I use my PlayStation 5, I download about 6 hours to download the whole game.
You're doing physical based textures, you're doing 4K textures, you're doing a lot of high poly, high count messages that look realistic. But on a device that's a 6-inch screen, if I cut it from 4K down to 720p or lesser and let the device do the scaling, which takes almost no power, you can get them down to about 1 gig or less to be able to operate and have the fidelity that's actually good enough. And we know this because there are games that exist today that you can play like that. That's the core fundamental. How do you choose the right capability for the right device without hindering the experience? And experience doesn't mean beautiful. Okay, you'll find out in the games industry, it is about playability. That's key.
Yeah, and especially if you play MMO, then the network latency is also the key, because if your network sucks, always behind your enemies, you make wrong decision.
Yeah, if the game doesn't run smoothly, it's going to fail. So when we're talking about latency, we're talking about delay. That tiny gap between pressing your button, clicking your mouse, or going on the keyboard, and something actually happening on your screen. So there's two kind of ways that industry has kind of put this together to kind of stop this lag. And it would be gaming infrastructure and cloud regions placed as close as possible to the end user. But there's also the other side, what we would call routing and peering policies, finding the most efficient way to send and receive data from the end user to the game server.
Right.
Even if you're nearby, if your data takes a bad route, that proximity won't save you. For example, say your data go from Sao Paulo to Lima. That might go via Miami and Austin first.
Right.
So having these peering policies in place alongside that geographical proximity helps minimize any unnecessary delay. Wesley, maybe you could explain a little bit more on how you're seeing that playability and the lag and what you're doing to stop that from the cloud side.
Right. So the two consideration, number one is the game server's latency to each player, and also a fairness of geographic connectivity. For example, some people in Miami, some people in let's say Seattle, or even some people in Tokyo, the matchmaking and fairness will be very difficult. How to allocate a good server and make everybody's equally kind of similar latency. That's a very important.
For one, there's what's called a physical network and a logical network. Okay, the physical is where it's located, but guess what? Logically, it doesn't mean it's the fastest route. In regards to latency, there's a combination of technology of how the game's written and for the geolocation on the logical side that has to happen. You'd be surprised that if I try to hit certain areas in Asia Pacific, that a connection into San Francisco is actually faster than it is to connect
Really?
to some different areas. Yes, you're talking about a single straight shot through the ocean with no other router points in between. And so in some cases,
Right.
it's actually faster. That's a logical network.
Yep. So when the user log in our system, we'll do kind of IP location. Where's the major region the gamer belong to, the East Coast, West Coast, let's say Tokyo or Singapore, and then we find the right server to serve them. Because that's very important to, as we talk about playability. Let's say you play the game this morning in New York and you take an airplane to LA, but you want to enjoy the same play experience. You don't want to, I feel more laggy because I'm in LA right now. So this kind of balance, you have to make it happen in the back end automatically and make it very friendly and fairness to a user.
And what do you think about that, the future of that infrastructure, Wesley? Like where we're at now and where we're going?
Personally, I think the age side, you will spread out as many city, close to population, as possible. But for large cloud or GPU cluster, Power supply is the current challenge. So some kind of good connectivity or broadband is very important to having the compute in far away, low energy cost place. But while most of people, when they want access GPU and AI, they can get very fast response.
And that's definitely a problem I think that everyone in the industry, and not just our industry, is facing at the moment, is that kind of power is at a premium, space is at a premium, GPUs are at a premium. It's kind of, we're taking off so fast. It's how is the infrastructure and everything going to keep up and keep pace with what we're trying to do and what the consumer wants and what that end user and the gamer wants at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's right.
As we're looking into the future, we haven't really mentioned the big elephant in the room, which is AI. So maybe you could kind of give us some insights on how you see AI kind of helping the future of gaming, where it sits, what it's going to do. So maybe I'll go to you first, Royal, and then Wesley, I'll come to you afterwards.
So AI is very interesting. There's a lot of elements there. For one, think of it as the ultimate user-generated content that's actually done through AI and that capability. Because AI is able to generate audio, it's able to generate video, it's able to generate 3D objects. It can be your policing agent, it can be your creative, it can be your companion, your storyteller. It can change the dynamics of the game. So now you're talking about a much more robust environment and ecosystem that's driven by AI.
Yeah.
That means you can go almost anywhere, which, by the way, is a blessing and a curse. Because where do I start is the hardest
Right.
question to
Yeah.
ask anyone.
Right.
Right. And from my side, yeah, I totally agree with Will. So the whole value chain from content production to distribution of game industry will all benefit from AI. You want to write a script for a new story, new game. You want to use AI create new costume, new characters, right? Use AI be your QA. Even like matchmaking and like promotion marketing, you will see AI everywhere. That's how what we'll say like game industry is always the pioneer adopting the new technology because we really love it and adopt it.
Right.
Exactly.
Thank you so much to our guests, Royal O'Brien and Wesley Coe, for joining us today. It's been a fascinating discussion about the future of gaming and the critical infrastructure that's powering these experiences. You've really helped us to see how gaming isn't just an industry, it's a catalyst that's shaping the digital future.
And thank you for listening. Stay tuned for the next episode of Interconnected, where we'll explore another exciting technology megatrend and how it intersects with digital infrastructure. You can find all of our episodes on the Interconnected YouTube channel and wherever you get your podcasts.